Hello guys, so today's this video. So I wish to say that there was some reports, and this reason was I mentioned about the Comcast that they're going to spawn off both MC Universal and Sky, which is it's gonna be sometime, but. But there's just a speculation about the Comcast themselves. But according to the Charles and Casperano on New York Post, that the Comcast is going to be eyeing the acquisition of cable rival charter communications, which is why it hasn't pulled the trigger yet, because there isn't so. It says this: the Comcast decided to buy the rival cable giant charter communications for longer than most people realized, but it has to pull a trigger. In an arbiter, the word is is dip. On the money was learned. Specifically, the Brian Roberts, who's CEO of the Comcast, who unleashed the epic flurry to the deal speculation when it was revealed last week that he planned to spawn up MC Universal. It is about the expectations that they had nearly another $100 billion debt, while it is in the middle of the massive corporate restructuring, which is according to sources. But those sentiments was directly to Casperano by people with direct knowledge for the matter. After we ran the story last week about bankers torturing the Comcast shutter tied up. But the idea was that being that the former is now effective with a pure play cable and broadband distributor looking to grow. Yeah, that's just what's happened since then. Here's what it says here was down. I just want to warn you about the pushing a notion of a deal. Is one that I was told that by someone who knowing that the Comcast that the inner workers just look at all in shutter dip. Which is I am. The West rumor mill was hitting up with all sorts of prospective Comcast deal making. Of course, now the reports that will have the currency to expand the distribution empire that isn't bogged down by editing content, that is seen as the drag on earnings. Yeah, that's what's happened. Obvious reason why it has happened. So, one talked the possibility would be for Netflix to swoop in and avoid the paycheck to buy MC Universal at the lawsuit war versus government bidding war with Powell's guidance. So another which they could lead toward a scenario for Comcast is to buy out the charter. But his theory was because these cable distribution forced issues was a card cutting and wise competition on the top of the list still throws off a lot of cash, which Comcast needs a expand to compete, which could combining a competitor to operate different markets like Shutter themselves seems like a strategy could fit, which these Shutter ships has popped to 10% on the speculation. Which it is exactly what's happened since, was that's before you do with the math of the Shutter's debt, which Roberts and his bankers have done. Was notices around was $100 billion and on the top directly $90 billion what Roberts already has. So you see why he's more than a little nervous. He's more than a little nervous. So he was both of them have investing in infrastructure, which accounts for the leverage, and both it descended the cash flow average for the debt, which Comcast around 2.3 times the EBITDA to debit compared to the shutters, which is a much higher to close to 5 times. Meanwhile, it was because exact shutters completing the $44.5 billion deal to acquire rival broadband player Cox Communications. But there's the interest issues like this. When the Department of Justice, that was the under Donald Trump, is far more the deal friendly than the deprived by Stystians. Theoretically, increasingly active state attorney generals can sue and win TOOs if they can convince the federal judge that such overlap that it could have led to the price hikes. But however, because Piranha knows it, because in the other competition that we have now, it's only argument. Neither was it among the big three of wireless, as we said the code coding that the code coding has heard that there are capable businesses, though if raising other current fights are expensive, and it might make it to both parties to think twice. And you could do all of them, so yeah. So that's all about the speculation in what Comcast is gonna buy Shutter. So I guess this is so yeah. But not yet announced about the so yeah, so because the Shutter, which is the sort of finishing the acquisition of Cox, so I guess so. So that's today's video. Please stay safe. Take care.